Welcome to Earth2 Comic Cast, where superheroes exist and comic book talk is the norm. It's your host, Mo Crosby. As you can tell by the banner and the bottom part of your screen, it says Earth2 discusses WandaVision. Yes, we're back to discuss the final episode of WandaVision. And on this episode, almost not on these nuts. On this episode, I have Dr. Kyle.
On me.
And I have he who refuses to be named. Right? What's going on? It's been a while. We haven't seen you on Earth2 in a while. And Ant, mind you, has been looking for Ted Cruz. That's why nobody has seen him.
Yes.
But welcome back. Welcome back, Ant.
I'm still regenerating. That's why I'm hiding my face.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. we're okay with that. No, but we are here to discuss WandaVision. And after episode 8, which I thought was really powerful, or, for this show that it hasn't had a lot of powerful, like strong episodes, episode 8 to me was the strongest of the bunch. And after episode 8, you got everyone hyped for a finale that you thought was going to be like something, we were going to have a showdown, or it was going to close this thing up nicer, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then we got the series finale, and then it makes you think about the whole entire show it made me think about the whole entire show. And I was like, what was the purpose of this show? But you know what? Let me not talk about me for a second. Let me have Anthony go first. What did you think of the finale? Just the finale in itself.
Just the finale. It was fine. I think there's some plot holes, some reasoning doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
I'll say the positive things. The action looked nice. The soundtrack, like the sound quality, everything was great. Like this was movie level production for me. Like if you took this and put this in a scene in an MCU movie, I wouldn't know the difference for most part. Right. So I liked it. I feel like one of the things I did like about this show is we got more Vision, because I feel like we hadn't really got a lot of Vision.
We don't know Vision, yeah.
Yeah, he came up in the Age of Ultron. He showed up in Civil War for a bit, showed up in Infinity War for a bit, and they kind of gave him character growth off screen. But it was great because he does such a great performance. Paul Bettany, he does such a great performance. For an actor that was on the outs before getting this role, this is an achievement. Like he's great. And even when he's playing off himself, like the mannerisms he gave his alter ego are like just how he raises a lip every once in a while, or the movements are different. I don't know. That was one of the favorite parts of this series, and I always got to appreciate that 20 years ago, would we really think that we would see something like this on a TV show or Endgame or Spider-Man, or we got Vision and Scarlet Witch show, and they're like what D-list characters in the comics for most of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a regular part. We have brought the mainstream. Marvel has brought the mainstream into comic book weirdness, and I do love that.
Okay. KB, he took his glasses off.
Yeah. So, all right. I think the series was, I don't want to say great, but it was right there on the cusp of great, right? Like Ant said, the level that they put into this production, you could put this right in the cinema. Like they shot it with the same kind of finish that they did Civil War and what's the other one? The Cat movies, The Winter Soldier, Endgame. Like you put it right, it's right there, shot with the same kind of finish and mastering. Like it's very well shot. The acting in this series was phenomenal. Scarlet Witch, Vision, and Agatha, like the way how they're acting was amazing. What's her name? Kathy Hahn, I think her name is, that play Agatha / Agnes. She put on a freaking acting clinic for like 5 or 6 episodes straight. Like just phenomenal acting on her part. And like Anthony said, like you're taking some very minuscule characters and like you're bringing it to the forefront of pop culture, and everybody's embracing it. Not only that, you're adding so much depth to something that has a huge, rich history, like House of M and so forth. Like I like the show a lot. I will say that, And I do like the story that they try to tell with grief. I will get into my feelings about the finale shortly, but yeah, I do like the story a lot.
Okay, so those were your thoughts on Kyle. Those were your thoughts on the entire show, right? Not necessarily the finale.
Way better than Lovecraft Country. That garbage.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so this is let's not get into that. This is me, right? On the show, I thought the show was okay.
On Kanye to Kanye, you thought the show was great. Cool.
I thought the show was a Kanye shrug. Because okay, so it didn't start off super hot. It had the middle that was really the middle started to pick up. And then by the end, it just kind of tapered off at the end. It didn't like it. You see, this is like on a Ant-Man 2 kind of level thing for me, where it's like, oh, it's here to give us something to look forward to for Endgame.
Right.
Where you could technically miss Ant-Man 2, but you watch those end credits and you're good enough with how that works for Endgame. Was that Endgame? No, Endgame. And so that's the feeling I got from WandaVision. It's a big filler because we haven't had any MCU stuff, right? For a year plus.
Yeah.
Or a year.
Homecoming was
the last MCU stuff, and that was 2019.
Yeah.
Right. 2020 we went without any MCU stuff. So for me, it just felt like a filler, just a big filler until like we got the last two things at the end. I'm like, oh my God, Captain Marvel 2, and now maybe Doctor Strange. Again, they weave the thread of Doctor Strange throughout this, and I think when we got to the end of episode 8, you saw the runes, and they kept throwing the word magic out a lot, so that this isn't. But the one thing though I would say is they cut off anything that you would have thought, any thread that you would have thought about mutants. They said, nope, it's not. It's not here. It's not happening here, because again, I think you raised the point that these are the first two superpowered beings born, and so they could be mutants, right? But then they're not really born; they're created, a projection of her mind, pretty much. And so that they cut that thread off. So there are no mutants, and then she's not a mutant. So her origin story is magic, or it's a being. The original Scarlet Witch, she's the embodiment of that. So it's magic. So again, they've thrown out any mutant thread, which I did kind of like, because it would have been kind of weak to do that, but just keep everything in front of you is what Marvel does. They don't try to overextend, so it's like, it's you watch football, you play football. If the defense is giving you 5 yards, you take the 5 yards, right? And with Marvel, they don't tend to over project. They don't go for the deep balls all the time. They're just it's pause. They go for what
all I heard was deep balls. I don't know what you're talking about anymore.
They go for it. It's first and manageable, second and manageable, and then they hit it out the park on 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 4. They go for But what I liked about the show, what I do like about the show WandaVision, is that it's contained. It's self-contained. It could be its own thing. It could be a movie, if you take out some of the filler stuff. But it's its own thing. Even though there is the greater MCU thread in this, but it's its own thing, right? This wasn't if you take out those 2 post-credit scenes at the end, you could almost feel like this wasn't done to make you look forward to something else,
right?
But I think that I think this show didn't need to be as long as it was. I think you could have fit.
Well, we're gonna get into that. So matter of fact, let's go ahead and just jump right into that. So it's 9 episodes. The first 4, I believe, are 30 minutes, or the first 5 or 30 minutes, right? And then the last 2, they kind of extended to like 44 minutes and then credits, right? So now, what does everybody think about that format?
So I didn't like it. I think when the first week they came out, they released the first and second episode together, right?
Right.
So we got 40 minutes of screen time or footage, pretty much. That pretty much sold the premise, and you could have done the progression through the time in the first couple episodes. This is a show that they should have just dropped all at once or cut it down, because I personally feel like it wasn't worth the wait week to week for some episodes versus others. I think also, I think there was a campaign to lie to us, to tell us that things were coming that didn't come, and that's kind of frustrating. Like, just stand on your work. Like, don't tell us that you're having these guest stars or oh, there's an ending as big as Luke Skywalker coming. Like, that didn't happen. And I feel like you didn't need to use that PR machine. I'm going to be less trusting of what you say about your product before it comes out.
Right.
I think
if you the first Infinity War trailer, I believe, had the Hulk running with the rest of the team, right? Is this on that same level, or is this different?
All right. Well, as far as the Hulk, I'm a little biased. I think they did the Hulk dirty from Infinity War to Endgame. Like, I think they essentially killed the Hulk because he never came back. That last guy wasn't Dr. Hulk. That wasn't Professor Hulk. That was just Bruce Banner. So I feel like they did the Hulk dirty. So maybe I equated it more to
know how to write Hulk. That's my theory.
I think they don't. I think they don't, and I think the character suffers for it. But then at least let him do the one thing y'all gotten him doing well, which is like rampaging and being a power. So not to get off topic, but Hulk never got his redemption, right? For most people, if you look at Infinity War, they'll say the Hulk was scared because he got a gas whooping, right? The Russo said that's not what was going on, but that's what people perceive it.
Yeah.
And then he never came back. Thor kind of got his redemption moment because he got to impale Thanos when he came back to the battlefield, and then later on cut off his head.
I mean, he also got to grab Mjolnir in Endgame when he thought he wasn't worthy.
Right. So, but Hulk never came back. Pretty much, we just got Banner after that, right? And it to me, it was a waste opportunity. I think they gave that to I think they gave that moment to Captain Marvel, which would have been felt better if this is the Hulk's, because they crippled the Hulk after that. Like, Hulk doesn't have his healing factor in this universe, and he doesn't seem to get stronger the madder he gets. So
because he's always angry.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think they did. I equate what they did to the Vision stuff, or WandaVision stuff, more to what they did with the Star Trek movies when they were like, "Oh, that's Khan." No, that's not Khan. Yeah, that's Khan. And that is not. Hey guys, definitely trust me, that is not Khan. But later on, this movie came out. Yeah, it's Khan.
It was. Like, what are you talking about? I know, right?
Yeah, like don't gaslight me. Like, just let your work stand. And that's what I felt like for a lot of the series. It could have been 2 hours long. It could have maybe 3 hours, maybe, if you want to stretch it, because it's like a mini series on Disney Plus. But there was a lot of dead air for me, and I know people might miss the little things and stuff like that. But nah, that was my. And also the red herring of the fake Quicksilver, right? Like, that kind of pisses me off.
That was a huge middle finger to us, though. Like,
yeah,
the comic book lovers and people who've been really invested in all the Marvel movies, not just the MCU, but like the Fox Marvel. That was like a huge middle finger to us. Like, I know what you're hoping, but we're actually going to use this character to be nobody.
Right. And then if
that
you
was
actually
the
have
worst part of it.
And if you have the staff telling you that, if you have the actors and the creators telling you that, oh, this is going to introduce the multiverse and da-da-da, here's Pietro, you're like, oh, okay, where are we going with this? No, nowhere. It was just one. This was like Nick Fury losing his eye to a cat. Like, this is what this felt like to me.
You know what the worst part about having fake Pietro was? I think for me personally, it was the fact that when they finally got to it, it was a dick joke.
Yeah.
It was a fucking dick joke. Like, what? So, I mean,
and then he was easily taken out. Like, he was easily taken out.
But then he wasn't Quicksilver, so does it matter? Like, look, honestly, go ahead.
No, and I think the other thing is, I think they might have painted themselves into a corner a little bit. This all depends on what happens next, right? So Wanda in the comics was always powerful, but that power it fluctuated a lot depending on what was going on, and she also had some instabilities of when she could access that power and when she couldn't. You have her now rewriting reality, giving people powers, giving Monica her powers, gave Monica powers somehow. Like, you have a lot of things going on here, and now they're saying that she's going to be more powerful than
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, and
yes,
and I don't even mind the raw power, but it looks like they're going to skip over the learning phase, and she's just going to be more skilled too,
Right.
based on that ending. So unless you're making her a big bad or someone that just shows up when, like, you know, I don't even know, just showing up might even be a problem. Like, you're gonna have to explain why she doesn't just fix everything. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's basically Reed Richards in the comics. Like, you have to give a reason why he's not involved in the conflict, and
right.
those reasons never make sense, but you accept it because you go, it's a comic. You know?
it's a comic.
Yeah.
Yes.
But in this, if she shows up, what big bad are you gonna have show up that doesn't instantly neutralize her because she can rewrite reality? She made clothes that just stayed. You know what I mean? Like, there wasn't an illusion. It wasn't.
And she has photographic memory now.
Yeah. So that depends on what happens after this, I think. But
all right, so let's get back on this final episode. So let's highlight the things that happened in this episode. What you guys have done a lot of, to be honest, is talk about how the show looks good, how well it's shot. We're gonna talk about that at the end, but let's get into this episode. Kyle, what did you think about the? Okay, so there were two battles in this episode, right? No, three, because one of them wasn't necessarily a battle, but it was three. It was Vision. It was Vision. It was Agatha and it was Agatha and Scarlet Witch, Vision, and then the children had a kind of a battle with like the cops, right? If you want to call that a battle. What did you think of the battles?
So I wrote in the chat earlier. I think I wrote in the chat. I find it funny how for years
wrong chat.
Yeah, maybe wrong chat.
Yeah, not our chat, bro.
I may have actually.
You're moonlighting. I don't like that.
Okay, cool.
We want all your first thoughts.
Oh my
Nigerian jealousy, I guess, coming out.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, man.
So for years, right, the comic book community that watched these movies complained about the hero, like when it's a hero with this skill set fighting somebody with the exact same skill set, when you have a whole catalog of people, characters that you can have them up against, right? And I was like, we see where this show is building. Like, we saw that it was going to be Agatha versus Wanda as soon as they did the Agatha All Along song. Like, we knew it was going to be those two. Then when we saw White Vision, like, okay, it's going to be Vision versus Vision at the end. We knew exactly what it was going to be. Like, so it wasn't like it was like a huge question mark, right? So when they did it, I was like, this is something that we've already seen before, like in several other movies where it's like, I have this power. I also have this power. I'm fighting you with this power. It wasn't but so much creativity that they could do. Like, I think the Vision fight looked cool, like visually, just because of Vision's power set. And that was it. Like, I didn't get nothing out of it. Like, it was I think the fight was about 12 minutes? 8 or 12. It was very long for screen time for a fight, especially a one-on-one fight. It was basically Peter Griffin fighting a chicken. But and then the fight happened early, so I was like, okay, so it's going to be a whole bunch of disposition right after this fight because the timing of the fight, right? So I was like, all right, how long is this fight going to be? Because I know it's happening so early. I know there's a lot of stuff coming, so let's hurry up and just get to the resolve where we know Vision's going to die, because you don't bring in White Vision and say, oh, this is really him, to just say we're keeping both Visions. You're not. Paul Bettany did a great job acting, but no, they're not going to do that for too long unless you're going to just bring back Ultron as White Vision, which they already said. They already basically showed us, no, we're not going that route either.
So, what do you think about the battles in general?
Like I said, the Vision looked interesting just because, like I said, it's because the power set, right? Him phasing through, and we haven't really gotten to see a lot of his him in battle. It's not really since the Age of Ultron, pretty much. have we really got to see him like let loose in battle. But I thought the most interesting one was the philosophy debate they had, because that seemed more how, because like I can't speak for y'all, but my favorite part of Age of Ultron is the end talking to him talking
When
to
he was
Ultron.
talking to Ultron, yes,
And, like, that's the part I rewatch all the time. You know what I mean? Like on, there's certain things that are products you just like. Let me look this up on YouTube real quick. That's the scene from Age of Ultron that I look up. And the party scene in the beginning. But that would be. I think I've actually already watched it 3 times already. Just that little conversation between them was the most interesting part of this show. I mean, the show.
It was the most interesting part for me about the finale, though, to be honest.
Yeah, and that was great. I thought they were going to get some kind of merge thing. I think we saw some of the Mind Stone go into him, though.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was cool. And I was really afraid that they were going to end the Vision character. So I'm glad that he's out there. Even if it doesn't get used for a while, they can use him, So I like that. The Wanda on Agatha fight didn't really mean anything to me. The magic is really funny. If you don't define how your magic is used, how it's limited, how the system involved in it, it almost becomes Matrix fights where it's meaningless between two people. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to get a broken nose. These ribs don't get cracked. Like we don't know the limitations. It was kind of even almost, people was like, it was really clever for her to use the runes, but I was like, she saw the runes for like 3 seconds.
Yeah. How would you know? And how would she know what runes exactly or in what order?
Right. That was, I mean, it was an ending.
According to magic, don't you have to cast the runes in a specific order? Like, and
we don't know about the system. We're kind of basing it off what we know about Doctor Strange, but
even based off that, it's still everything is specific.
And Wanda's not known for being a smart character at all.
Right now, I wanted to say that. Like she's not a Tony Stark or.
It's the truth. She's not a smart character. That's what.
Don't talk about women like that.
No, Wanda. That's the best thing about her character, though. It's like she's a completely flawed person that's basically average. That's super powered.
Right.
Like that's her character.
No. That's exactly what
I think Marvel is having a hard time with this. Well, MCU. Marvel doesn't really make perfect characters. You know what I mean? Like Marvel made flawed characters with abilities that were also probably flawed. And if you were somebody that was extremely powerful, like a Jean Grey or a Sentry, you probably had a really big negative on the other side of it, right? And I think that they might be losing that. And again, it depends what happens after this, right? So I don't want to, but it's my fear.
But you keep saying, okay, quick question. You keep saying it depends on what happens after this. We're here. What is happening here?
So in my mind, you have a shared universe. There's a macro level of thinking about something and a micro, right?
Okay, so you're thinking,
how does this puzzle piece fit into this overall universe?
Well, she's created fear now. It's like she took over. She took a town. She took a town hostage.
We're gonna discuss that.
Yeah, and the narrative
grief. You know what I mean?
Let's not go there yet.
Because if you think about the macro, she just created fear to the rest of the universe. Like, okay, powered people are now bad. Like we created a law, and even with this law, they're still going to do what they want. These people are dangerous.
Yeah, and so you said we're gonna get to it, so I don't want to go too into it. But overall, the fights didn't really mean that much to me because I didn't know the rules of the fight. Like I didn't know, you know what I mean? Like I didn't know the limits of what they could or couldn't. I mean, they could have started turning people. They could have started turning each other into rabbits for all I know, and I would be like, oh, okay, I guess this is what.
Which we didn't get a payoff for him. What the hell was that rabbit?
Right. So the Wanda Agatha fight. This what this show did really well was emotional beats. So I think the emotional beats hit. I think some of the more sci-fi power stuff was kind of a miss because apparently Wanda can give people powers now, right? Because she they made a Quicksilver, huh?
Her children have powers.
Children have powers. Either Annika or her gave the guy Quicksilver speed.
Vision has his powers.
You remade the Vision and all his powers, right?
Right.
So,
and you have what's the name? You have Spectrum.
Yeah, and you have Monica who got powers by just going through the barrier, which I still don't like. That's how she got her powers. It could have been.
I guess you had to flash forward. I guess they tried to move things along and get away from like tons of origin stories and movies.
All right,
Yeah,
so
but-
great.
So,
No,
but apparently Wanda's power gives other people powers, or can give other people powers.
Right. All right, so here we are. We're gonna talk the emotions and the like. So I think what this show tried to do, right, was talk about flawed heroes and grief and how they would handle grief and the what would come out of that grief and how far like do heroes get help at the end of the day, or can you look at a hero and be like, okay, well, you kind of are a hero, but after what you just did, are you still a hero? That's what this show tries to tackle, right? So they did try to tackle Wanda's mental health and her grief, right? How do you feel like they did that?
I think they made me feel like Tony was right in Civil War, because Tony wanted her evaluated, right? After that thing, Tony just wanted her like in a padded room so they could figure things out. And everybody wanted to throw this quote unquote child into adult situations and into the battlefield because she had power, not understanding what her power was.
How old was she in in Age of Ultron?
So she's born in '89 per what the show said, right? So during Civil War, she had to be in her mid to late 20s.
She's born
So
in 89.
She's not a teenager. Okay, so she's never been a teenager. Oh no,
which is weird because they tried to make it seem like she was a teenager in Age of Ultron.
Right.
Yeah, I thought she was supposed to be like best 20, maybe 21
right.
or something.
She's supposed to be in the 20, early 20s.
So when they said she was 89, when Hayward was talking to the people, I was like, huh? That's weird.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So you were saying Tony tried to throw, everyone tries to throw this not evaluated individual, super individual into the mix of things, and if you look at episode 8, they show you how her life has been, right?
Mm-hmm.
She went through this thing, and she recovered she helped herself recover. Then her brother died, she helped us, Vision helped her recover, and now Vision died. Who's here to help her recover? Nobody. And so she creates this thing and takes everyone hostage because of her grief. In the first episode we did on this show, I called her a villain. I said she was the villain of this show.
You did?
Yeah, you were. I don't think you did this episode with me. It was Roy?
No, I just listened to it, but you did call it.
I said it. I said she's the bad guy because, and then the Mephisto was a thing. Oh, it could be Mephisto controlling. I kind of gave into that because I didn't want to see a Wanda being the bad guy. But this episode shows me she's the bad guy. And the worst part of it is, as you said, they created a law, right? And they still do anything they want. And Monica just basically saying to her, I understand why you did it. It killed the entire show for me.
So for that part, like the showrunners try to make this narrative like, oh, you were grieving. We understand. Haywood, you're going to prison. What is Haywood going to prison for? Like, right. I'm asking this online. Huh?
What did he do wrong?
He didn't do anything wrong.
Bringing back Vision?
But that's not illegal. He had that body legally. That's his department. Like somebody said, well, he tried to commit murder. Against who? Wanda? Wanda was mind ravaging a whole 3,000 people, imprisoning them and torturing children. Killing her, she's a domestic terrorist at this point. Who should, I know that they at the end they went twirling mustache, so he shot the bullet at the kids, I guess. But the kids aren't real. Like he knows they're not real. So what exactly why is he going to prison? And then people are trying to like defend this. Huh?
Vision is still stolen by Brainy.
That's Wakanda law. That got nothing to do with him.
No, what I'm saying is the Sokovia Accords. Vision stolen by Brainium, made it to a synthezoid. He's technically United States property. He knew that.
Yeah, but he didn't do anything illegal. Everybody knew he had the body.
That's what I'm saying. He didn't do anything. That's my whole point. Hayward didn't do anything legal. Everything he did was ethically correct.
So my thing, like,
what did you want him to do? I don't understand Monica's perspective.
That's what I'm saying. Because if you look at the end battle, right, where what's the face starts releasing everyone's mind, and this one is like, oh, my daughter, can you just please? They will play that. That was the thing that actually caught me, was when Dodie, I think her name was, she came up to Wanda. It was like, look, just wake my children up. They can play whatever role you want them to play. I just want to hug them.
Let them out there.
What episode was this? Episode 2 or 3, where Raj is pretty much crying.
Yes.
My dad is gonna die. I just need to be able to talk to him. Like, please tell her. And then you find out that when Wanda goes to sleep, they have her dreams. She's fucking with people. And it's, I understand why you did it.
Yeah, that was so weird. It was a weird thing. Like, it looked like the show was like lock up the corporate white guy. But this white woman, like, I don't even want to defend this character, because Haywood is kind of a dick, but
he is a dick, and it's like, if you defend him,
if Nick Fury did these exact same things,
he's going to jail, bro.
No one would say shit to Nick Fury,
because he's Nick Fury.
That's my point. Like, he didn't do anything wrong. Like, Haywood didn't.
But I mean, according to Vision, he didn't want to be brought back. So
that's not a law. like I'm not even sure Vision has rights. Like, he's not even human.
That's questionable. That whole Vision having.
I think Vision should have rights.
Yeah, he's sentient, right?
I think Vision should have rights. I'm not saying that. I am saying that the toaster wanting not to be revived is not a law.
But he's not a law. He should be able to make decisions being a sentient.
We're talking about different things here. I'm saying, what is he going to prison for?
It's the right of all sentient beings.
Right? Ain't a law. There ain't no law that says you can't bring somebody back from the dead.
Okay, so that's he didn't break any laws. Hayward didn't break any laws. The person that broke
Agent the biggest law, Monica and Darcy broke laws,
and Darcy got out of there
at every point. And it's weird
because she committed
vehicular
violence.
Right. The show built everyone. I called Hayward the villain in the last episode because he revived Vision. But because of the point you just made, saying Vision technically is property and not necessarily, he can't really say I don't want to be revived. And that's the only reason I called him.
Vision signed the Sokovia Accords. He knew that he was property.
Yeah. I mean, he was registered, so it was legal to bring him back even by the Accords. Like, Vision's already registered. The other thing is property. The other thing is the humans that survived the snap had to go 5 years. Like, the universe just erased half the people on our
5
planet.
years past then, right? Monica came back and her mom died.
My point is, we have a living sentient Superman here. I mean, we have a Superman robot here. We need to figure out how this thing's going to work, because we don't know what aliens are coming to kill us next. Like,
we don't know it's coming back.
Right. So I've yet to have a rational argument about why Haywood's in cuffs. Like, even like any kind of logic whatsoever.
No, I think the show needed a guy villain. Like, oh my God, he's so bad. Because when he shot the kids, I'm like, but they're not even like. I think that was just done so Monica could do her thing.
Yeah, that made me that took away from Monica for me. Like, that whole line took away from
that line, like, oh, I understand, I would have brought my mom back. Like, it killed the entire, and it shouldn't, for something that is trying to stick a landing, like this episode was trying to stick the landing of the show. I think that might be why it didn't stick the landing. It's just that point right there.
Try to arrest Wanda.
Not even if you don't want to arrest, right. Even if you don't want to arrest her. Say, hey, Wanda, let's get you some help.
You should at least say, where are you going?
Right. No, you just tortured a whole town. Yeah, think about how terrifying those lines were. Just let my daughter out of her room, please. That means her daughters, huh?
I wonder what dreams they're having. If the adults are having those dreams, what are the children doing?
And she just flies away.
That says good luck. And literally says good luck. Like, what?
You could at least try to mind wipe, like at least you gave her Jean Grey's powers. Like, at least try to mind wipe or block some of this stuff, because those people are traumatized.
You know the weird part about the show? The show went out the way to not be able to point the blame to Agatha, to leave the blame on Wanda. Like even when Agatha was right there, like the show made it a point. We're gonna make it so you can never blame Agatha for any of this.
Right.
And I was applauding that they were going this direction, but then the Monica Compet and Hayworth or whatever going to jail kind of switched the narrative of the show, the perspective of the show.
Right.
And then Monica does the same thing to Agatha that she just did to the town. And you can say Agatha's the bad guy or whatever, but you still mind raped her. Like you still took away her agency.
Yeah, but is she?
Huh?
Agatha isn't, to me, Agatha isn't a bad guy. I never thought Agatha was a bad guy. At
least Agatha's a bad guy, but Agatha's like an evil therapist. And
right.
You feel me on this? Because she did two things on this show. She agreed with the psychosis to get what she wanted, right? And when the answer didn't come through when she was agreeing with the psychosis, she turned around and did flooding. Episode 8 was flooding. I only do that with certain clients because every client can't handle it.
Don't say that on here.
Did it. And I was like, oh God, this episode is
don't say that on here. Don't admit to that. What's wrong with you?
Can you say pause?
You said what?
Kyle does not make his clients flood. There's no
Oh God, no.
Oh
my God.
Where's the disclaimer? Let me put a disclaimer.
I mean, not intentional. Sometimes you spit knowledge to people and they be like, oh, they give you that look. It's like, ethics.
Not these clients. Let me tell you what.
Not these. But yeah, so that was great. And I mean, that would be a great power to have for some sessions. But okay, so I should say she's a villain. She's the antagonist because she really didn't hurt anybody.
No, really? This cow.
Huh?
Look right here, yo.
Disclaimer.
Disclaimers on this show.
Disclaimer.
Right.
But now she's being a living torture herself. Because you saw what was going on to the other people. So she's trapped inside of her body and her mind. Like, she didn't do anything to deserve that type of punishment. Which also brings me to my last point. If any cameo should have happened, Doctor Strange should have came up at the end here, at least.
Right. And
you got one fucking job, Strange. Like your warnings are so sensitive that if an Asgardian sits down on the planet, you can teleport them to you immediately. But this huge thing is happening like 40 miles from you.
He's like, no.
Seriously, because Westview is not that far from what is it, Brooklyn?
I guess.
Yeah, it's not that. Well, it is like maybe 50 an hour.
It's Jersey though, right?
Yeah, it's South Jersey.
Doctor Strange can just sling ring himself right over there. Like,
is he busy? Like, you gotta give me that. I usually like turn a blind eye to like all the superhero stuff happens in New York, but only certain superheroes show up at a time. I kind of turn up. This is your only thing. This is your only thing you do, Strange.
Him and Wong, like both of them failed.
Wong could have showed up. What's Wong doing?
Showed up.
Actually, Wong might not show up. Wong got the person of color kind of thing. Like,
nah, this is above my station.
What's the name? Where was Mordo? Mordo's over here supposed to be getting rid of all magic, and magic is being used wrong. Like, this is exactly Mordo's alley. Like,
this is probably gonna be number one right now.
Like, Mordo would have been a huge. This is the turn that would have made Mordo a hero. Well, he's not really a villain yet, but
or I understand because him re-crippling that other guy was rough. that was rough.
but I would have been like, yo, Mordo's right. Like, this is out of hand. He came in, he did what he did.
Yeah.
You know what I think? You know what I think, right? I think that as Kyle was saying, the show was trying its best to make sure it doesn't look like it's what's her name's fault, right? But then I think they kind of turned it around to say it was her fault because she just opened all their minds at the same time. It was just like boom, like, you know, as you said, you know, she just she threw all the emotions, you know, she just threw it all at them at one time, right? I think that's what the show's trying to. Oh my God, like she shouldn't have done that. You know, I think that's why they punished her like that. But my question to you guys is, right? Because I think Vision kept saying to Wanda, you know, you're going to be able to fix it. How would she have fixed this?
Mind
Trauma. Mind wipe was the only quick fix. Is Wanda paying for therapy? I don't even know what to say. That's kind of like
whole town is going to need therapy right now.
Unless you would have been like, look, right up there by that billboard, it's Agatha. It was Agatha all along. She even has a theme song. She's doing this. It's not me. That's the only thing that could have helped her.
But to my in my mind, and I gotta stop saying it. I kept thinking this was like sexual assault. Like this whole thing was like sexual assault on the whole town.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's the kind of trauma she enacted on them. And I thought they were going to deal with that. But like I said, the Monica line at the end, it took away. It looked like and then Hayworth going to prison for what? For what? Being right? like I don't get it. And then I started thinking, like, in the comics, she's been a bad guy and a good guy. She's been,
But at least
told the line.
It made sense why she was a bad guy. Like it was a clear line drawn. Like here, they're trying to say, oh, it's because it's grief and it's the psychosis of it all, and then she was manipulated, so she's a bad guy, but actually everybody else is wrong, not her. She's able to fly away.
Everybody got a story, huh?
Who manipulated her? Agatha? She did one thing.
Yeah, she didn't really. This was all her. This was all her. And it's another thing. Every time someone tried to break her reality, she kicked them out or further entranced them or whatever.
Because you remember the one beekeeper guy with the beekeeper outfit at the beginning? What happened to him?
Don't know what happened to him.
So the only person who know what happened to is Monica, who she kicked out.
She was willfully doing this.
Right.
She was, and when someone said, "Oh, there's no children," okay, I guess we can bring the children, some of the children out their rooms for the Halloween type of thing.
For Halloween, and then you went to the edge of the town and you saw the other kids and the people just monotonously doing one thing over and over and over, and then the one lady had the single tear, like, "Yo, this is torture." I think that was the episode Vision walked out of the thing, and then she made it bigger.
I really think that Vision should have not. I'm torn. I like the scene, the emotional beat they gave with the goodbye and everything like that. But I think with Vision's morality, what Wanda knowingly did to the town and him, he should have had some kind of, not just "you'll fix it." I guess you'll fix it. Like I think there should have been
that. Yeah, he kept saying that.
There should have been something else there.
I think he should have told her to go get help.
And that would have been the best thing.
Now the next question is, did they address Wanda's, like, what they did to show you in episode 8, the grief? Did they even address it?
No. One thing they did was they really showed how mental illness can affect those around you if you don't treat it correctly. That's all this show really showed you, how powerful mental illness is if you're not treating it.
Right.
But it doesn't absolve you from responsibility, right? If you choose not to get help, if you choose not to, at her level of her level of understanding, she willfully enacted that trauma on other people.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she willfully did. And again, when the arguments I keep hearing is, well, she was in grief and da da da. I get that, but Hayward was traumatized by the snap. Like most, I don't really believe in good and evil for the most part. I believe it's perspective and who interferes with function. It's the I'm gonna mess it up. It's the farmer plants some grain, the mouse tries to eat the grain, the farmer sticks the cat in the mouse. Who's evil in the situation? Like if you're the mouse, the cat's evil, right? If you're the farmer, the mouse is evil. It all depends on where you're standing. That said, once you pick your morality, there's consequences to that. There's consequences to going from that. And I think that the morality that Vision displayed, I don't think he'd be cool with this. Like, I don't think he'd be okay with, like, you're just gonna fix this. It's one of the reasons why he was on Tony's side during the Accords conversation, right? Like, our power is inciting these responses. Is he excusing the responses? No, but he's saying that we in this system, what we're doing is kind of causing these reactions, right? They're still responsible. They're still, you know, they still, you know, they're not without blame, but that's happened. I think you can understand her grief, but still want to hold her accountable. And Monica kind of dismissing that kind of accountability, saying, I would do the same thing. So you would willingly lock 3,000 people in a prison of their own minds and torture children for, I'm assuming, months at least, right? Are we assuming months?
I think this went on for a couple.
Yeah, they didn't give us like a real timeline because at the end of everything, it just looked like it was a day because she came right back in her clothes, right? But it felt like time had passed.
And it's hard to tell because it was night in the cube and it was daytime when the cube disappeared. So, but even if it's a week, even if this is a week,
I actually think it was just 7 days. It was like 6 or 7 days.
Okay, but even if it's just 7 days, you inflicted a lot of trauma on the people. Like that's
actually time passed on outside as well because
I don't think it was that much time in real time.
Yeah, it wasn't that much time. Yeah. But yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot. Of time.
My point being is Monica going, I do the same thing. Really?
The worst. I thought it was the worst line of the entire show. The entire show. It was horrible that she said that as technically an officer of the law.
If I'm Senator Kelly, I'm approving the budget for the Sentinel program right now. We just
have to wait till Senator Kelly comes in and does what he does, because I think he'll right the ship of, you know, and so I think the biggest thing that the show tried to do was show grief, right? And I don't think it stuck the landing on that because there's so many things that it didn't, you know, it just let skate, especially at the end of this. The next question is, should because this is in the MCU universe, should an MCU hero, I think we've already answered that, should an MCU hero have been involved in this? Because again, this happened across the bridge.
Yeah.
They should have brought in somebody, and I'm not sure why to call to an Avenger if the Avenger is still a thing anymore. I mean, I wouldn't care if Winter Soldier showed up or Falcon. I mean, I don't know what they would do. That's my other thing with the magic stuff. What would any other hero do against the magicians or witches and stuff like that?
With the current roster of Avengers, there's nothing none of them could do.
Well, I mean, even with the addition of Doctor Strange is zero, because apparently Scarlet Witch is stronger than Doctor Strange.
But see, here's the thing: Doctor Strange is smarter than her.
If they write it that way, which I'm scared they will not do.
Oh man,
I'm scared they will not do, because she apparently taught herself the astral projection, learning while you're doing other stuff. Doctor Strange did it while you're sleeping.
Oh, okay.
She did that by herself. Well, if we're assuming that's what she was doing, that's what I'm assuming. She was doing her other stuff while her spirit was sitting there reading the book. This is now I wasn't besides maybe some Midnight Sun stuff and some like 60s, 70s Doctor Strange. I don't know a lot about the Mystic not MCU, the Mystic Marvel Comics. Does the Darkhold contain all spells or something?
No, the Darkhold is one of the evil books. So like there's several books of the Damned. The Darkhold is like one of the bigger ones, which is directly, I hate to say it, but it is directly associated with Mephisto. So yeah, so it's like, in a way, I guess Kevin Feige's like, all right, here's the middle finger. You get Mephisto at the end.
So you know how Doctor Strange had to learn all these different spells and techniques from different books and different sources, materials, and teachers. Right. The Darkhold can't do that, or shouldn't be able to do that, right?
Well, the Darkhold
is its own thing.
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Just
so
like
that has me question again. How does she learn astral projection? How does she learn like?
Well, the Darkhold can teach you things of your desires as well, because it can write itself as you're reading it.
So essentially it can give you access to any knowledge, but it depends on who you are.
Plot armor.
It's very much plot armor.
Yeah.
Okay. Very evil, and
so let's get into mid-credit scene. The first mid-credit scene we got. How'd you feel? You know what? Let's just watch it together and then talk about it. Right? Let's just do that. All right. So it's this one.
Off the back, this scene didn't do nothing for me. Go ahead.
Oh man. Oh man. I didn't want to do that yet.
Hey. But let me tell you, you can show her all day. Let me tell you.
The hips, though?
When she was
I
walking
mean,
in there. Okay, let's not be men.
oh, I'm sorry. I'm not male gaze. I meant.
I love women, especially a beautiful.
Yeah.
And let me tell you about Darcy. I'll tell you what. Yo, she took a deep breath. Everybody gonna choke to death.
Oh, wow. So in all essence, all that scene does, right? Wow. All that scene did was say, "Hey, look, we're getting Captain Marvel 2, right? Pretty much."
Yeah.
I mean,
I was just happy. Captain Marvel didn't show up, and they gave some like hopefully Nick Fury's building what's organization or the real sword out there, right? So,
so that you think that's what that could be alluding to?
I mean, if I was Nick Fury and I had access to alien spaceships technology, and I'm a spy that now has a shape-shifting, I don't know what you call them, but shape-shifting agents that he seems to be utilizing, because we've seen him send people to Earth in Spider-Man now. We've seen him send it here. And is that it? Is that all he showed up in so far?
Yeah, that's just, I mean, because really we've only had one movie since the end of Captain Marvel. Well, one movie since the end of Captain Marvel.
All right, but they're spread out in different places, so we can assume that
they're out there, but we've only seen them twice.
Yeah. So, but I mean, in random places. Like, was this an FBI agent? Who was this person?
Look, maybe an FBI agent, because I think it's the FBI in town, because Lee called Lee.
So, but either way,
yeah,
you're super spy Nick Fury, and now you have access to shape-shifting agents.
Oh, it's a wrap.
Yeah. So I think that's a cool thing. Monica being sidelined for this. I think there's another problem with the writing for this show. The people that are outside the cube got stuck with the exposition dumps, and I think that dragged down a lot of their dialogue and their character development. I've never been a big fan of Darcy's witty commentary too much. Like, it's good in short bursts, and I like looking at her intelligence.
Yes, she has a lot of good intelligence. Right, she's been blessed with
thick intelligence. She has very thick intelligence, and
I'm not gonna say, but when Darcy was in chains in that one episode,
I'm scrapping none of that.
I ain't saying that at all.
No black snake ball going over here.
And they did that side view.
No. But Anthony, just like you, like, it's good when we get Darcy like limited. Darcy, I like it, but then they gave her a lot to do, and it just, it's too much. Sometimes too much of a thing is not a good thing. This mid-credit scene was okay. Again, it just
made me feel.
How?
There's a double cross. That mid-credit scene really made me feel like there's a double cross coming. Like, because there's so many scrolls on Earth, which what it looks like between Far From Home and this and Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
So they're integrated here, right? The scrolls. They've already lost their home planet. Eventually, they're going to feel like this is their home. They've laid claim here. It's going to come out, and they're not going to want to give it up because this show's already laid the groundwork of you can't trust superpowered people. So that means you also can't trust aliens, because the last alien that came here tried to invade us. The alien before that was Loki.
Tried to conquer us, subjugate us. So
yeah,
so they're doing a secret invasion show, right, or something?
Yeah.
So
I think that's how they start.
Okay, I'm not gonna get into my gripes with the Captain Marvel movie, but they made a light speed engine, right, to take the scrolls away to find a planet. That was the whole point. Even though a light speed engine, when you have warp technology, is kind of confoundingly stupid, but but that was the whole point. So I don't know. I'll be interested to see wherever they explore what's going on with Nick Fury, and while we have some Skrulls that are still active here for whatever reason to go. But I mean, I don't know. My original point was I was like, all right, let's see where this manga character goes, and then she kind of got sidelined the last
two episodes.
She really didn't do anything.
She didn't do. As soon as she walked through the barrier, she was just done.
I was expecting a Quicksilver in her fight or some kind of tussle or whatever, and he seemed to overpower her. He was susceptible to a judo flip. So,
right, like he should have. I was upset that happened. I'm like, that was kind of easy. Like, and then when that happened, I was like, is that it? Like, that's it?
I mean, he did pluck her titty meat, so that.
Yeah. But then he's like, ha! And he was like, I guess he was shocked. I was like, maybe he thought she was coming in for a kiss. I don't know. he got scared.
Let's check out the next credit, the actual post credit scene that I think is kind of interesting.
She is the most homey dressing Avenger out there.
Man, I appreciate her comfort.
Yo, she don't be caring at all about what she wears.
You know what? I'd rather see Monica in them sweatpants.
Who you tell?
Just.
And here we go with the heel turn.
You ain't reading that book. You ain't read that page that fast.
You can't read.
You grew up in a third world country.
That's
what are you looking at?
That last shot, that last frame of her, that's a comic book shot.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Did it say Wanda will return?
That's what hold on. Let me go back there for a second because I think it did.
I don't remember seeing that before.
Because that's like a splash page. I remember that shot from the comic.
Oh, it did say Wanda will return. I think it means like probably somewhere else. Maybe like.
Now, what I also find interesting is if she shows up in Doctor Strange, like we're told, right, and she's a major player, this is the first time you've had to see a TV show transition to a Marvel movie.
Right.
Yes.
Like they've never actually done that before. And I'll be interested to see if this has consequences because, I mean, if they reference this, but I think at this point, if you're not on the bandwagon of Marvel movies, they shouldn't have to recap everything for a new person, especially since it's all on Disney Plus.
Right. Well, Feige stated that you could watch the movies without watching the shows, but you're going to miss certain plot points. But you could watch if you're just a movie watcher. You could just watch the movies without watching.
God, was this the shot you were talking about? This thing right here?
Yeah, like. Right there, that's a shot straight from out the comics.
Now, visually, she was cool. Seeing the crown form with the energy around her head and all that, that was cool. I'm just saying they're painting themselves into a corner, but not defining exactly what she can do. But I guess that's always been the problem with that character, if you think about it. Like,
yeah, because she in Infinity War, she was kind of weaker than Thanos, and then in Endgame, she was able to not just subdue him. Almost.
I don't think she was weaker than Thanos in Infinity War.
Oh yeah, she was trying to destroy Vision at the same time, trying to keep Thanos at bay. She
was on a mission. So I'll give her a point. When she's with the Avengers, specifically with Steve, she's mission focused and like she's going to do exactly what her job is supposed to be.
And only certain characters have gotten their comic book power counterparts ported over to the MCU movies, like Scarlet Witch, Captain Marvel. I say Tony Stark's probably better than his comic book version.
Yeah.
Captain America, I would say that too. While other characters like Thor's depowered.
He's better in the movies than he is in the comics.
Who, Tony Stark?
Well, Cap.
Well, he's I'm thinking Ultimate Cap. Like to me, they just ported over Ultimate's Cap.
Yeah, it's just Ultimate Cap. Yeah, it's the same exact thing.
Okay, Six Cap is
Ultimate's Cap can curl a helicopter. regular Cap ain't doing that.
But no, can we that scene? Look, I've been in the gym, man. That scene is so cool. his
Look, I was
bicycle.
in the theaters and I heard conflictive flooding. I ain't gonna mention, but someone we know was right next to me, and I heard a sigh. I was like,
wow. No, so so it's looking like she's gonna be Multiverse of Madness, unless they lied to us again, because Feige himself said this kind of
they lost some trust. They lost some trust.
So let's talk about that then. So this is the end. We talk about that. The next thing to talk about after the credit scenes is, so they took all the things they told us it was going to happen, nothing, right? And then at the end, or last week, or during the week, they released a tweet. No, it wasn't a tweet. It was Brandon Davis, I think, interviewed the director of the show's showrunner and said, are we like, what's going on? And he's like, oh man, you might be slightly disappointed by what you get. How do you guys feel about that?
So this show kind of made itself seem like Lost in a very weird kind of way, right? Like it I don't know why, but this show kind of got like the Lost effect, like around like episode 3, episode 4, when the non-comic book person got involved with the show and really trying to put them together and ask questions, and then they're deep diving, and then they're asking people who read comics a lot of questions. What's this? What that is? Who's Mephisto? Is that Mephisto? All that kind of stuff. So I think it kind of got the Lost effect, and Lost had the benefit of being on for 7, 8 years, as opposed to this, which was 8, 9 episodes, and it got an unearned loss effect. So a lot of the disappointment that it got towards the end, that he was speaking of, was because of the expectations that people developed, thinking, "Oh my God, this is the new Lost."
It was very unearned to me. This was a basic, and I want to see. We know comics, right? So like we pretty much knew this was where this was going. Like we pretty much knew where these different points were going to come up. But when I talk to people who aren't in the comics or casual MCU people, I know I heard some people say like, I started watching this show, but I could just watch Dick Van Dyke for this. Like they got turned off by the first couple episodes. You had some people that it was really long and drawn out. I do not think this was worth the 9 weeks or what. Is it 9 weeks? Is it 9 weeks?
It was 9 weeks.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It was
right.
8.
Because the first was 2 episodes, but yeah.
The first 2 episodes
Even
was the same.
Even if I don't think it was worth the 8.
No. And especially for like half an hour tidbits, it just. Let me ask you this. Would y'all recommend someone watching this whole show? Would you stake your reputation on saying, hey, yeah, watch the whole show? Or if you had like an episode guide of, look, you skip this episode, you can watch half of this one, you can come back to this one, like, would you go through that? Or would you watch all the show again? Would you go through all the show again?
I feel like this is a very good quality show. I do. Like all the way through though. This is a binge show. This is not a week-to-week show.
That's the point.
Yeah,
it's definitely not a week-to-week show. And I believe the first time we did a cast on this show, Kyle, I said the single drawback of this show is the 30-minute snips, right? And then they give us hours or 45 minutes later. Mm-hmm. But that 30-minute snip or that 22 minute, because again, you had those ads in the middle, right? That 24 minute clip that they were giving us didn't feel weighty enough for them to, but again,
and that's how the loss effect happened, because you created a week-to-week discussion on what is this,
and the answer wasn't worth it. Kind of,
but like this answer doesn't. It's even on Lost, it wasn't.
No, but you remember when Lost was bad, you would come to work or go wherever, and like somebody else was talking
about it.
It was water. It was literally water cooler talk. Where. Like,
so now the next question I have for you guys, next to last question is, so now given this show, how are you guys going into Falcon Winter Soldier?
I actually have higher expectations for that than this, just because I feel like you had next to it, and these are 2 very, very obscure characters, right? Wanda and Vision is already a character who you really haven't established in the movies. Like in Civil War, he did nothing. He was useless, right? He was basically
He almost killed
a bad guy. That's all he was.
almost killed Rhodey.
And so in Civil War, that's all he did was shoot a laser. Like that's all he did. Like he had a decent speech at the table when he talked about that power creates strength, creates confrontation. But as far as conflict and battle, like you already didn't have Hawk in that battle, right? Because again, I don't think that the Russo brothers can write the Hawk, but you didn't have Hawk. But the next best person that you could have was Vision, and you didn't, and you had Vision just floating around grimacing at an airport.
Yeah, for Vision's power level, he didn't really like. If you're to have Vision there and not have somebody else like Thor or somebody like that you can actually utilize Vision's power in a fight. Did you ever see? There's an episode of the Earth's Mightiest Hero cartoon where the Avengers are mind controlled and they start unmind controlling. They start going up the power rank of unmind. So first Cap gets uncontrolled, and I think I forget. I think then I think he releases Hawkeye, and it keeps going up. I think they get to Captain Marvel, they get the Vision, then Thor shows up, and they're like, "We got to run." And Vision and Thor have a really like nice fight, but you see an unleashed Thor kind of give Vision them hands, and in the Civil War fight, there was really nothing for Vision to do except when he all right, we know Wanda can shut him down, so we just got to keep them separated in the fight until that happens or whatever. So he's there to make puppy dog eyes at Wanda, cripple Rhodey, and beat up Hawkeye. But everybody beats up Hawkeye, so
that's not an accomplishment.
So when I look at that, right, so you had a very tall task on top of you're telling a bridge version of House of M, right? Or MCU. So you're doing that. So it's like you got a tall task, and you got to hope that somebody's going to buy in. Like people are going to buy in and watch this and like it. So that's a tall task versus Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm going to buy it. You're going to buy in anyway because you know it's going to be like some spy espionage type thing,
buddy cop type of thing going on.
Yeah.
They've already established their chemistry because
you have 3 movies.
Like, hey, can you move your seat up? No. Or when Spider-Man beat him up, he's like, I hate you.
Right. All the way into Endgame, they have like chemistry between the two of them. So yeah. So
it's just easier to jump into that show that looks like gonna be action oriented. It'll be whatever. The Baron Zemo guy was a great villain for not having like to be like an overly powered villain because he was a planner. And you have them dealing with the legacy of Cap, right? Versus this show, which is a very interesting very interesting concept.
I
think so, and I think you guys are right. I think that if I could have binged this all in one day, I'd probably have a different appreciation for this than.
I think they should have just dropped it all. If they had dropped this show all at once, I think the discussion would be different,
or at least bigger bites. Like here's an hour and a half, here's an hour and a half, here's an hour and a half, or whatever. I don't know.
Right. I feel like the conversation would be different because there'd be more to talk about. Because talking about this show week to week, you're actually trying. I think what fed the theorists and the people trying to pull the thread or find a thread to pull is the fact that we're getting so little and we're having to look at things extra hard. Like Kyle mentioned The Fly at one point. If we got to binge this show, I 100% believe that Fly would not have meant anything to you.
Right.
But you would have seen something else. Again, you mentioned the book at the end when she's like reading the book and you say, oh, well, that's a myth, it's a Mephisto thing, right? That, it's that would have made it easier.
She said Darkhold. As soon as she said Darkhold in the show, I was like, oh, okay, so we're going Darkhold in the MCU. This
right.
Is she finding a reality where the children exist? Well, and she made a line that said, thank you for choosing me. That might mean, and also the children seem to have autonomy or agency outside of her influence.
Yeah, because they grew up. She was like, you better
against
not
her
grow
wishes.
Right.
So and in the comics, I think that the kids have a piece of Mephisto's soul, and I think that's where they get their realism from. I think.
And Agatha has a place in that as well.
Because I mean, yeah, I don't think we're done seeing Agatha. I believe she also said, "You're going to need me," and she's like, "I would know where to find you."
And she did a good job. That actress did a great job.
Phenomenal. That was honestly, that was, I think, the better acting of the show was Kathy Hahn, right? I like Paul Bettany, but I think she did a lot more carrying the show, as nosy neighbor when she played that role perfectly, and then when she came out as Agatha, I bought it. Even when she trapped her in the mindscape, right? It's like, oh my God, no, don't. And I'm like, is this it? Is this where this ends? I kind of bought it up to the point she's like, huh, you thought. Like I kind of did.
Right. She's like, you don't know what are you released and all that stuff. But I still give the Paul Bettany because his like even throughout
Vision,
throughout the show, he plays Vision very well. The Vision versus Vision dialogue, like I don't know if you go back and look, the mannerisms he gave White Vision.
White Vision has the lip
that lip thing he was doing. Like
I almost thought it wasn't him.
Yeah, I had to, the second time I went through it, I was like, maybe it's a different actor because like
it's a different actor because I'm like something.
The little touches he put on that, like that was some quality stuff right there.
Right. So all in all, how do you, okay? So now we've seen the whole show. We've agreed that if we'd binge this thing at one point, like if we came back to talk about one entire season of WandaVision, we'd have a different conversation. What do you think of the show, though? Like, okay, we've gotten it now, but what do you think of it? Is this something that we'll be talking about later on because it's going, as you said, a piece of the puzzle, or is this something that this is where it ends? Is this when you're doing your Marvel binge, like everyone does the Marvel binge, right? Are you going to add WandaVision into it?
Yeah, definitely.
I will not. Look,
at least the last episode.
I know. I was hanging out with somebody recently who isn't pressed to see these things, but wants to see them. Mm-hmm. And so she's like, "Oh, let's put on WandaVision." And we started watching the first 2 episodes, and it was so slow. Like it was so I can appreciate it. Like I don't want to knock anybody for liking it or getting out of it. For me, it was such. I probably will never watch this show all the way through. Where I know I'll watch Daredevil all the way through again. At some point, I will sit down and watch Daredevil season 1, 2, and 3 all the way through, and probably watch every episode. Right. The way I watched
Defenders.
I didn't watch Defenders a lot, and there's not a lot in there.
But watch Defenders because I want to look at it now with fresh eyes.
We should do that. We should watch Defenders.
We should.
Who's the detective off of Defenders?
Misty Knight.
Not Misty Knight. She had her own show that I really like, and Jessica Jones. I have watched Jessica Jones season 1 multiple times.
Season 1 was amazing.
Yeah.
Where did it end? Season 2, right? Was the last one?
I think
season. She got a 3rd season. I haven't seen the 3rd season.
Season 1 was the best, probably though.
Yeah, I couldn't.
But anyway, I've watched season 1 multiple times, and now I'm talking about it. I'll probably have to.
Season 1, it was great, not because of her though. It was great because Purple Man.
I think it was because of her, but they play so well off each other.
So somewhere in Marvel Studios, a lot of them have time to go to therapy, and they have put a lot of things in their sessions in the projects. And Jessica Jones was great for that. I don't know. Jessica Jones just spoke to me. I thought that was a really great, and I like how they didn't just fix her at the end of that season, right? She wasn't miraculously just. So oftentimes people deal with their trauma. All of a sudden they're better after that point. Like, no, this takes work and progress, and we're going through these steps. And I think they did a really good job with that.
So, Kyle, when you're doing your MCU, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you said what?
No, go ahead. I was going to.
But my point being is, I will probably, unless I'm watching it for some, I get enjoyment out of introducing people to stuff, but I probably will not go through. I'll probably watch this last episode a couple times, but that's probably going to be because of the Vision stuff.
Right. If Vision is, because it says Wanda's coming back, it never says anything about Vision. So you think Vision? It looks like to me
Monica's depth. And Monica's depth.
Yeah. They have at the end that Stinger said Wanda will be back. It never said anything about Vision. Looks like Vision is on a swan song because he's dead.
Huh?
Maybe he's gonna go find himself. Vision isn't coming back.
Vision's in Wakanda right now, talking to Shuri, trying to get the rest of whatever they downloaded during that whole Infinity War. He's
She
working
probably
on.
made a copy.
I
Summer,
guarantee
where's my
that's
balls?
where
Summer. This is gonna wake up. Summer, where's my balls? Sure, sure. Where's my balls? You know what I'm talking about? Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty, the dog, Snowball.
Yeah.
Nobody got that. Okay, I'm just going to be on my phone.
But no, so all right, so we're excited, but we are excited moving forward for other Marvel shows, right? Hawkeye is going to be coming, and then I think Ironheart is like another one.
Okay, huge problem with this whole thing too. Hawkeye and Wanda are supposed to be like a big brother, little sister type thing. Where the hell was
Hawkeye? Would have been a great
his own daughter.
No, but they've done Hawkeye really dirty. I think they did Hawkeye and Black Widow really dirty. I think that instead of having the Captain Marvel movie, the Black Widow movie should have been the movie that bridged.
Black Widow should have been a movie way.
Like phase 1, phase 2. It should have been Black Widow.
Yeah, and then they could have gave and like, did y'all both read Ultimates? Did y'all read Ultimates?
Yes.
There was this. It started off with the scene with just Black Widow and Hawkeye doing Black Ops shit. You know, yeah, and there was a good movie there. There was a good
that is their story. Is, you know, again, they tried to allude to it. You know, they tried to allude to it in the first Avengers movie, right? Where after he was mind fucked by
liquefied. Yeah.
They've also tried to allude to it in Endgame, you know, when they were about to kill each other or kill themselves, where Hawkeye goes, I should go, you know, it should be me. You know, because maybe he's just done so much bad. And then again, what he did in Endgame up to the point.
Well, yeah, he was playing a role and he was killing gangsters and whatnot. And I don't know much about Kate Bishop, so besides the Avengers game, I haven't read much of her stuff, so I don't know. She might be a great character. I don't know.
I don't know anything about her.
The Hawkeye versus Deadpool, I did kind of enjoy Kate Bishop's role in that. So
okay, I didn't read that. So I don't want to disparage. I don't want to disparage the passing of the mantle because I don't know much about that character.
Yeah, so we're getting two passings of the mantle with what's her name's movie with Black Widow's movie, because she's gonna pass. You know, I think maybe that movie will. I don't know where that movie's set though. It's supposed to be set in between
Civil War and Infinity War.
Is it? Or is it? So okay, I'm going to guess like at the end of the movie, it's going to be at the end of Endgame. We get, you know, the
blonde hair girl's going to be new Black Widow.
Yeah, okay, cool.
We find out Scarlet Witch was a Skrull, and they.
But this the other thing is that I think what we just talked about. Oh, yeah, but a good point. Hawkeye has been Wanda's big brother. Even in Civil War, he went and got her from Vision. You know, went and planned out the whole Vision thing.
No. That's
why she decided to be a hero.
Right. And what's it called? In Age of Ultron, he's the one that's like, yo, look, you got powers. You can help.
He was saved by her brother and dragged her brother's body onto the helicarrier. You know, he came back to breaking the Sokovia Accords in my opinion, he broke it for Wanda because he feels a little responsible for her. So cut that man a check for him to show up at some point and go, Wanda, what are you doing?
It's a relationship that they've never really explored, because there's a relationship there. They just haven't explored it.
And again, you got one job, Hawkeye. As far as I'm concerned, in the Marvel movies, Wanda is your one job. Make sure one job.
Right.
I guess Black Widow, she went bad, but Black Widow and
so we have two passing of the mantles coming, Black Widow and Hawkeye. So I'm guessing Jeremy Renner is out. Maybe at the end of his show is out. Do you think we're gonna, because Ironheart is coming? Do you think there's a point where we get Young Avengers?
I think they're kind of going either that or they're going not Ultimates. What's the other one called? It's not Ultimates. What's the other team?
Oh, New Warriors?
Not New Warriors. God, no, I don't think they're going to go New Warriors right now.
Why you say it like that?
No, because it's already passed. The war's already passed. So
yeah.
Oh, that would be the catalyst.
Yeah.
I don't know what team you can think about that.
I can't think of the team, but Miles Morales is on the team.
Oh,
Black Widow, but Black Widow is kind of like their
and Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel.
Oh, we are getting a Miss Marvel show. So,
What'd you say?
Champions.
Champions.
Yeah. That failed Angel team from the 80s. They took the name and made it better.
Right. Yeah, but Black Widow is involved with that though. She's kind of like their leader.
Yeah, that's what you're out.
Right.
I mean, if you think about it, Ultron was made by Hank Pym, not Tony Stark. So I mean,
right.
You know, but yeah, I think if you give the budget and the care and the cinematography of this show to
CW,
to the to the Falcon and Winter Soldier show. Are we calling him Cap now? Are we calling Captain America and Winter Soldier? Or
we're still calling them Falcon.
All right. If we give that to Falcon, we'll have a good action series, I think.
Or Black.
And Marvel's character driven, so you'll get your good beats out of it, you know.
Right. I would like to call him Blackton America. I don't know how deep they're going. I don't know how deep they're going to dive into that because again, one thing I know for sure, it's not just Marvel, it's just comic book content. They don't, well, minus Zack Snyder. I don't think they deep dive into like because again, there's so much story and richness of a story you can tell with a Black Captain America, and the fact that they have a Proud Boys version of Captain America because they just couldn't give the shield to a Black man. I think there's so much you can do with that. Do you think, I don't want to theorize, but fuck it. We're going to theorize. How far or how hard do you think Marvel is going to go into that?
Marvel's been kind of wishy-washy when they deal with stuff like that. Black Panther dealt with it, but they almost dealt with it in a stealthy way that I think, because I don't know about y'all, but I had to explain to non-Black people a lot of things that were going on in Black Panther. So just about even animosity between continental Africans and African Americans were they're like, what, really? That nocturnal thing that James called us. What's that nocturnal rap?
We're not talking about that. But no, I had qualms with the fact that my biggest thing with with that movie was that everything happened inside of Africa before it came to LA. But why was LA the first? Why was it Oakland where they put that outreach center and not in some other country of Africa? It kind of felt. I was like, but whatever. It's not my thing.
But my point being, that's pretty much the only show, because you think about Captain America in World War II, there was no hint of racism or anything like that. I think you had a Black officer at some point. Yeah. And they kind of they ignored the Nazi thing almost as much as they could. So
was that even a plot point? It was never a point.
I think we might have replaced some stuff in our minds with, but they mentioned Hitler. I don't think there was a swastika or anything like that.
No, there wasn't.
So they kind of downplay it, but it'd be interesting. It would be interesting
because
for
there's so much story. And again, with the what's the character's name? The guy who ends up who's like a fake Captain America. I forget.
Agent? US agent.
Yeah, that's something right there, right? Or am I tripping? That's a story you could tell. You could really, really go into why US agent is a thing, right?
Because even though Cap's not racist, even though I was a kid, I used to get mad at him because he wouldn't stick up for mutants. I used to get so mad at Cap.
Isn't that kind
of? I won't go on my rant right now, but if you think when Cap, one of the things that happened in the comics when Cap died was there was a thing where Thor went and talked to his spirit or something like that, and he was like, I don't mind, I don't mind dying for my friends and my beliefs, but he turned all the TV news and everybody was using his words or his image to justify their perspectives that he didn't agree with. And he's like, I wish that didn't happen. I wish they didn't twist what I stood for. And I think Thor made a media blackout for a minute or whatever. So there's something to be told there of misappropriating what
because I feel like that's gonna happen a lot.
Well, think about it. Cap stood up against the nation when they did wrong, right? But you could use him as propaganda. And I think we're going to see the propaganda. And he started as propaganda, right? So
right.
you could use that propaganda angle to tell a good story. And Falcon to be the non-blonde hair, blue-eyed Captain America,
just like Rorschach.
Yeah.
And what's it called? So all in all,
Watchmen. Sorry.
Yeah, and Watchmen. Yeah, just like Rorschach. Because in the on the show, I mean, you could whatever the Rorschachs use his image and his words as why they're doing what they're doing. Even though when you look at it, he would kick their asses if he was still alive.
And you could easily do that with Captain America's image.
Right. Well, so I hope they do that though, because that's the next show coming, right? That's in about 2 weeks.
End of the month, right?
Yeah. So that's the one coming next, and I can't
wait.
We
all know, this was a bigger moment at the end than Luke Skywalker showing up in Mandalorian, right?
Stop it.
So they trolled us hard with that.
Stop it. We're about to end on a good note.
We're never lie to us. Never misuse our trust in our love.
We're about to end on a good note.
I think they did the Wanda thing to us. I think they did that to us. I feel violated. I feel a little violated. I might need a hug later, Mo.
I got you. Unlike Kyle is the only one who's gonna probably watch the entire thing in his Marvel binge. I will not. Anyways, thank you very much and thank you very much for coming to join us on this. Kyle, it's always a pleasure. Hopefully we can see Ant I would like for Ant to be here for Captain America and Black America and Winter Soldier. I'd like for you to be here for that because I think
culture.
Yeah, man. Because you should have seen Superman last night. That
I've already been bullied into. I'm gonna binge it tonight. I got a bunch of notes and evaluations to do tonight, so I'm gonna watch that while I'm doing paperwork tonight.
I'm saying you should have seen that cast. That we need to for Black. We need to come here for Black in America. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Anyways, thank you very much for listening. Those of you that are listening on the podcast side of things, thank you very much for watching. Those of you that are watching, again, Kyle, Anthony, thank you so much. Like, subscribe, share. We had a very interesting conversation, and if you want to know more of the conversation that we have a lot of things that we do on the channel, so watch that. We'll be back in about 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, for the first episode of I almost called him again, Captain America, Falcon and Winter Soldier. We will see you then. Thank you very much. Have a good day.